Hey E,
What's going on?
got a question for you.
All right, what's up?
How to heal a jack-o'-lantern?
I have no idea.
Come on, you gotta guess.
I have no idea. I'm bad with these kind of jokes.
We'll have a few of them in store for you today. Answer is a pumpkin patch.
Okay. I
Welcome to.
I think the funnier is thing is you in this match right now.
I'm Batman or Batwoman. I'm Bat them for
Bet
our
them.
Halloween special. I'm Bat them for our Happy Halloween special. For those who are listening, it is Halloween. I'm gonna take my mask off now because I actually can't really read my notes. This is the TFW podcast, episode 172. Today is just me and you, Eshaun. You think the fans is gonna love
The-
it?
oh yeah, it's the twins.
Yeah,
So
there we
we only 15 years apart.
go.
Only 15 years
You're not
apart.
starting with this already today. You are not starting
Separated.
with a. You're not starting with this already.
Separated at birth. Just 15.
Anyways,
There's different mamas 15 years later.
this is Rhodesia. That's Eshaun, my 15-year-old older brother. I guess in some reality, and we might actually have a special guest today call in. Maybe our most specialist guest ever, but we'll see. We'll see. We'd like to thank our listeners today too for the TFW fans, our freaks. And we don't want to be the best kept secret no more, do you? E? I don't want to be the
No,
side piece.
man.
I want to be the real deal, Holyfield. So, all right, after we got the pleasantries out the way, like Matt normally does it. E, you sent something to us today, just a moment ago, talking about Rhea and these new images from her X-rays. What's up with that?
Yeah. So, just breaking news for me because I was out, doing big daddy things, taking care of the kids,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of thing. But looks like WWE 4 hours ago posted a story says developing story following last night brutal attack at the hands of Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez in the NXT parking lot. Rhea Ripley has suffered a fractured right orbital socket and will be out of action for an undisclosed amount of time.
Mm.
And so Sean Ross Sapp of the Fightful.com says that internal claims are that this is a legit X-ray, right? So I'm thinking to myself, Rhodesia, like this got to be a work. It's got to be a work.
I
They
still
got to be a
feel
work
that way.
angle, right? So I scroll through to see, because Sean will comment, and so someone replies a legit X-ray of whose face though. That's what I'm thinking. Like, whose face though? Who is it? Rhea looks structurally fine on TV, and the attack happened off screen. So unless they shoot attacked her, which obviously didn't happen, there is no explanation for this. And then
I
Sean replied to that. He says that she has not wrestled in about 3 weeks and was off Raw.
ooh.
So, and Sean doesn't really. He kind of plays his role, legit, right? He doesn't
Yeah.
really kind of go into storyline when he's reporting, right? So to me, I'm taking him at face value that this is a legit injury that they turned into a storyline. As watching it, Rhodesia, like we haven't seen her wrestle in a number of weeks now. That's the cool thing about wrestling, right? You can kind of get away with not actually wrestling, but actually being very present on our television, right? So I've seen her for the past month, but she hasn't actually wrestled. And at the same time, I'm thinking like, she's a top gal, right? She's one of the top baby faces in the company. She doesn't have to
Mm-hmm.
wrestle every show, but I guess
Right.
it kind of speaks volumes that maybe she hasn't wrestled because there is a type of injury, right?
It's interesting when you see things like this because we talk about all the times how if you do wrestling right, like it's right. So if she has been injured for this amount of time, for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever he's reporting, she still is relative, like relevant. What is it?
Hey, listen,
Relevant, relevant.
I like the Rhodesianisms. You know what I'm saying? Matt is not on the show.
I got
So
I
you
got a
do
joke for
you.
you.
You
I
do
got
you. I'm good with you.
relevant. She's relevant to me is how I feel. Like she's still relevant, and that's cool. That's actually a really cool thing because if this is legit, they were able to make that story and that injury line storyline actually make sense. I personally am a bit I don't want to say happy because it sounds bad that she's hurt, but I just didn't really want to see them in Saudi, her and Liv going against each other. Or no, I'm sorry, actually it's Liv and Nia going against each other. I'm just through with this whole storyline with Liv and Rhea. It seems like then maybe depending on what happens with Rhea, we're still going to pick back up from it. Is that kind of what you're taking? What you're thinking?
Oh yeah, they definitely have business together. This is not the and also with this injury angle, which is brilliant by them. Right now,
Yeah.
if something's really going on, it seemed like that maybe they were trying to work through it, by giving her a presence on television. So again, us just watching, I wouldn't have known she was injured or what was going on, right? Because she's been on my TV every single week in
She's
a lot
been
of different.
and she's been doing moves on some dudes.
Yeah, she be doing things, right? So I would have never known. But now, okay, cool. We got an injury angle. So she definitely has to come back to get revenge. Like, right?
Mm.
And so and the type of revenge that she needs to get isn't gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna come out there, I'm gonna whoop some tasks, and then I'm gonna keep it moving. No, we gonna get at least another POE because we gotta get a POE out of this. And again, like Rhea said it on her last promo, I believe it was on Raw, like, yo, I'm coming back for my title. Like, right? So she has to fight her. Like, this has to be a thing to where now Rhea is chasing. And you think about it like this, Rhodesia, like the best stories are typically when the face is chasing the bad girl in
I
this
agree.
instance.
I agree.
Right. So she's chasing her.
Mm-hmm.
And this kind of gives her another roadblock obstacle that she has to overcome. So I'm good with it. What I hope they do with again, we don't know how long she's gonna be out, right? She's gonna be off TV at least for some time. I hope they take this time to really build Raquel.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's been kind of look kind of weak,
Yep.
in this
And
whole
it was
thing.
an omen. It was an omen when she first came back, and there was that whole mess up of what was going to happen, and then she put Liv on top of her. Like it was like an omen when she first returned that it was that she one returned to no pop from what it sounds like, and then just the whole hiccup that happened. I really do feel like she is somebody that can be a big name. She
Yeah.
got the look, she got the size, she could be dominant. She's needed, and it's just like I don't know because when I see them, and even now, I still feel like, ugh, like okay, good, you got some heavy, but you look up and you have a freaking whole football team full of people in Judgment Day, of a whole bunch of people that you don't really even care about, and that's probably so mean to say, but whatever. It's Halloween, so I'm just gonna give it up today. But it's just there's a whole bunch of people in that group that you really just don't care about, or at least for me.
But we talked about that before when when Damian and Rhea left.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, okay, who's really the leader of the Judgment Day? I guess they haven't, but we all know what it was, right?
Yeah.
Rhea was the woman that was out front, right? So she was the de facto leader of the group. Whoever's the most over person in the group is always the leader. That's just what it is, right? So who's the most over person in the group now? Shit, I guess it's Dominic. Like, right? Like, I don't know if he's over, but he's the most hated. He gets the most response.
That is true.
Like, right?
And
So
their whole storyline has been about Dominic. Again, I don't want to go down that whole rabbit hole again about my anger toward this whole storyline. But you're right. It is Dominic. And when I thought for a hot second that Finn was about to step up to the plate, because we know he has it. He was one of the handedly the person who helped create the whole Bullet Club thing. Granted, I didn't watch when it was in first inception in New Japan, but it's like
I gotta tell you, as a longtime Finn Balor fan, Prince Devitt fan,
mm-hmm.
he ain't got it like that.
But
He ain't got
did.
like you know what he has. He has the aura, right? He looks the part,
Mm-hmm.
like right. He even can wrestle the part. Like he just looks cool, right? Even when he came down in the draws and the knee pads, you know what I'm saying? He always had the cool, jacket on. He's built. He's shredded. He looks good. Like he looks like somebody, right? But he hasn't really carried a feud like that. Not really on his end. Like he hasn't since he's been in WWE.
No.
He went down to NXT, right? And he kind of tried to add some edge to his character. And that was kind of cool because they had him talk and do things in splurts. But he wasn't like that big dog type of a character. I think the Judgment Day when he got with them has been the best role because all he had to do was do what he does best, which is look cool.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And wrestle.
And wrestle, right? Yeah. He didn't have to carry the weight of being the de facto leader of a group. I just don't think he has that in him. And he's getting a little later in the game, a little older in the game. But somebody who's been in the game for a long time, we'll talk about a little later on, Shelton Benjamin. at 50 years old is showing a new dimension of his character. So I guess it's never too late, Rhodesia.
I guess it's never too late. But we talking about big groups and people that can be on a whole football team. Where we wanted to start the show with, until we got the news of this facial X-ray, is the Bloodline. I kind of miss recording every, twice a week, because it's like we got so much shit that you can get from SmackDown to come
Yeah.
on here, and now you got to remember after all these days later.
We
But
unpacking everything, yeah.
yeah, like, so there's so many layers to this at this point. Where do you want to start with? At SmackDown with Bloodline, the Embrace, where do you want to start at with this?
Let's start with SmackDown, because you know it happened first. And like I want to go in the, because see, here's the only thing. I'm gonna get to the story, right? So we finally saw, Jay Uso come out, fend off the Bloodline, right? Mm-hmm. And like, no, and like, this is set it up, Brody. Just like, so, because I know you watched it, and everyone else did too. Like, right, like they're in the they're in the ring. Jimmy comes out there. So this is the Motor City Machine Gun match, right?
Yep.
Jimmy comes out there. He's in the ski mask or whatever, and he put hands on him and whatnot, and X, Y, and Z. Then Roman comes out there, and then now it's just I think it's Solo and it's Jacob in the ring, right? And then somebody else comes out, right? And I think everybody in the arena knew that was Jay.
Yeah, everybody in the arena was like, hell, you look just like the person that just came out a second ago.
For real, right? And so like he's taking his time taking that mask off, bro. Let's strip that mask. We know who you is, man. Let's take that mask off, right? So getting fast forward to like the end of this segment, we finally get it. Jay and Jimmy embracing the ring, right? They hug. It's like I never wanted these guys feuded. Like I'm glad we got Jay doing this thing, but I wanted to see that embrace. We got it. We got Roman Reigns looking on from the rampway, looking down, like, man, this is a beautiful thing. I don't want to come out and mess this up. You know what I'm saying? Then Jay look at him like, I don't know about this dude, right? Going on to Raw, Rhodesia. Here's my only disconnect, because we get on AEW about storyline. I think Raquel's one. Like I think they've made some booking boo boos with her. Mm-hmm. But why in the blue hell is Jay and Jimmy acting like they didn't just hug on Friday night? Why they act like this is the first time that they've been in the ring together? You mean tell me they hugged and they ain't talked all weekend? They ain't talk all weekend?
When y'all left the actual ring right after the hug, we don't even talk about spoilers, because I actually try to stay away from all spoilers, because evidently they taped both shows on SmackDown. But y'all had to walk out the ring, up the ramp. You telling me at that moment y'all couldn't squash any of that out? So when like you said, on Raw, when I saw that interaction, I'm like, did something happen? Did they get into another fight?
Yeah.
like what are we doing here? So I did feel there was a bit of a disconnect there. I don't know if it's just more so of them just trying to tell the story to add these layers. But again, I felt like, and I want to bring this question up a little bit later too, about this whole microwaving thing. Like, we were talking maybe about 4 or 5 weeks ago. Do we even see at this point Bloodline versus Bloodline happening for War Games? And we were like, well, yeah, it's going to have to. But like right now, it doesn't look like it. And then all of a sudden, I almost felt like, and I wanted to get Matt's opinion too, but maybe I'll ask him on next show. Do you feel like they gave Jay the title just as a reward? And I may have already asked this already, but again, it's just making them feel even more like they just did that to either bide some time or to give him something that was rightfully, like, that he deserved. I did ask this already. Do you feel that they did after seeing what's happening now?
It's definitely possible, right? Kind of give him an award for all the work he's done as a single guy, because he's gonna be thrust into the storyline and realign with his brother and his cousin in a major way. But I mean, we got good TV out of it, right? I think like the interactions with Brian and Jay were phenomenal, especially those last couple promos they had, interactions they had. It was really good television, so it all paid off in a lot of ways. But it also and the nice thing about it, like I just talked about some of the storyline boo-boos, right? And I talked about how the slight disconnect with the Jay and Jimmy in this promo early on, right? But Jay said like, "Hey, the Bloodline came out and they cost me my championship." So right, so if you think about it from like, does this make sense or not? It does give Jay a actual beef now
For
with the
sure.
Bloodline, right?
We know
Because
that
at
he
first he's
needed
like,
that.
"Yo, that's between, hey, my name's Jamal, and that's between y'all." Like, right? I'm over here on Raw doing my thing. Y'all ain't on my show. Y'all do y'all thing on y'all show, right? All right, now the Bloodline that came all the way to Raw, and they costed him a championship that we saw when he won the championship. He was very emotional about, right? That we knew he cared about, right? He said in an interview, I'm not sure it was done on television or not. I don't think so, but this was something very, very important to him. This is like a bucket wish thing for him, right? So we know this was important to him, and the Bloodline took it away from him, right? Dashley, Dirty Heel. So now he has a legit beef and a reason to reunite with his brother and cousin. So it could have been a participation award, but from at least if it is, they made storyline sense out of it. And then it also made sense when Jay said in his promo to Jimmy that, hey, they cost me my championship. Well, hell, I came back with SmackDown and I cost them theirs. Let's go.
Again, I say this every single episode. We talk about the Bloodline, which is pretty much every single episode. I'm not going to try to forecast this. I'm not going to try to book this. I'm not going to be super duper critical over it because I kind of sometimes feel like it's a kind of a fluid situation with all the parties involved. And again, I don't pay attention to anything y'all uncle say. But so is he saying that The Rock is supposed to wrestle in Mania, or he's not supposed to wrestle in Mania?
And I don't know what Uncle Dave is. It's
Okay.
funny. There's one guy on he was online and he said, man, he think it's cringy when people call Dave Meltzer Uncle Dave.
Why
And
is
I don't
that?
and I don't know. I'm like, I don't know if he thinks that people are seriously calling him Uncle Dave, right? Because like the Uncle Dave turn came from his adversary, right? When you talk about people who got real legit heat, it's Jim Cornette and Dave Meltzer. Do you know they had beef?
I did not.
They had like them dudes got super beef. And so I guess for like decades they were pretty close. They were friends.
I would have thought
Um
they were, yeah.
yeah, for decades they were really close. They were really friends. And and it seemed like it's a very emotional, personal thing between them. Jim said he thinks that Dave changed, because you think about Dave Meltzer, right? He's an old cat. So a lot of the old dudes his age are set in a specific style of wrestling, right? Even if me and my age, right? I kind of prefer, wrestling, 15 years ago. Some of
I
this
say you're
bibbity
15 years
bop
older than
fast
me, so
stuff,
yeah.
like
Mm-hmm.
right? Yeah, you get it. You know
Mm-hmm.
my age is, but
Mm-hmm.
so you get set in the way. So, but Dave Meltzer has changed his philosophy of what he thinks is good or not. Like, right? Whereas 20 years ago, he was maybe giving like one 5-star match a year, but now this year, on an AEW pay per view alone, he's giving out 6 or 7 of them. All the matches are 5 stars. So
Hey,
over the
hey, watch
years,
out. They are though. They are 5-star
hey,
matches
they
though.
they they
We
were
ain't say
until they weren't, right?
storylines. We ain't say storylines. We ain't saying that's gonna put people in their seats or buy these pay-per-views. We're talking about purely the matches. But so Dave has never wrestled, right? And Cornette probably has never wrestled, but didn't Cornette write or was part of production team with WWE?
Yeah, Jim did everything in the business beside. Well, he did wrestle, right? Not he wasn't an actual wrestler, but he did wrestle
He was a
matches,
manager
right? But
too.
he
He was a
wasn't
manager, right?
trained. He's a big manager. But I guess when Jim Cornette started like critiquing brutally like the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, because he hates those guys, right? And those are Dave's guys. So
Were.
Dave would
They
would
were Dave's guys.
defend them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So to Jim, Dave betrayed him by defending, these guys, these wrestler guys over a friendship, right? So now they're just beef. So Jim Cornette calls Dave Meltzer Uncle Dave. That's the joke. So for the
That's where the
people
uncles
saying
came
it's
from.
cringy that we're calling him uncle, like nobody think Dave is an uncle, man. It's just a thing that people do to be silly.
You said
Ain't
this
that
ain't
deep?
no term of endearment, Uncle, huh?
Hell no, I don't like him. Look, and if I don't like him like that. Anybody think I do? I don't know. I don't like him like that.
uh, anything else kind of on your mind about the bloodline? I like how um I still feel like we get a little bit of extra touching from Roman and Jacob, and I think and it could just be me. I think every time
We
that
get
they
a
get
lot of touching with
touched,
them. We get a
yeah,
lot of touching with them.
I feel the energy every time they kind of like lock. They don't lock up, but when they connect, I feel the energy. They did a great job on SmackDown on kind of moving their fight on. That way, they gave Jimmy and Jay kind of the ring. Do you think that we're going to still see then that Roman and Jacob right now? I'm not going to ask myself that question because I told you I'm going to book. I'm not booking it. But do you think today, now Halloween, that we're going to see Roman and Jacob?
Well, it's funny, Rhodesia. We're actually getting Cody and Jacob at house shows right now. So I mean,
Ah.
we could be getting some matches, but I know that a lot of people are like, yo, Jacob and Roman, that's the next big match. But is it really?
Well, so I was gonna say yes, it was really 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Roman's been back about 3 weeks, I think now, roughly. But they've been touching a lot, not maybe necessarily in the ring so much, maybe outside of the ring, but they have been touching a lot. Not more than what I thought that they would if this is going to be that big time to rival like a Rock or Cody kind of thing. I would think that this would be it. But again,
Because
I'm not
the
doing
reason why I say that, 'cause I think that a lot of the hardcore fans like us are like really into seeing this match like quickly. Because like here's the thing, we kind of glossed over really quickly. Like they are certainly microwaving, at least to me, like this feud. Like they're hitting that play button times 4 on this thing. Like things are starting to escalate really quickly. We saw, Jay and Jimmy are back, right? They're kind of tag teaming already. Sammy just got thrown back into the storyline, right? So now we're gonna see what's going on with him and Solo. Now we all know that of course Sammy is not gonna side with Solo, but we already see they're already
sure?
setting. Hey,
You
you're
sure? You
right.
sure? Because
But
Jimmy was like, "That's your boy up there."
but we know War Games is 4-on-4, so we like right. So we know something got to give, right? You know what I'm saying? But what for me, I think that we got to like when us hardcore fans, we got to take a step back and realize that they're like they want to take care of us, but they're booking for a much larger audience. Now they're training us to accept Jacob in a larger role once he gets there. But right now, Jacob is the dude saying "I love you" Solo and praying to Solo every day.
Yep.
Like right, like from a average fan perspective, he ain't a top dog. He's not a challenge to Roman Reigns. Not right now. Not this version of Jacob. I'm not talking about his potential. I'm not talking about what we think he could be or what he should be. I'm talking about what he is right now. He's the guy praying to Solo, saying "I love you." He's the one taking all the who actually has probably the most loyalty to Solo. Like the next version of Jacob, if he becomes like the top guy in that group, which we think eventually he will. Once he actually gets on the microphone now, and he actually takes that next step to superstardom. Right now, Roman Reigns is like up here and Jacob down there. I mean, he's like, that's not a PLE right now.
So let me ask you this question. This is squirrel just popped in my head. And we have to compare here because it's the art of this whole podcasting thing. So we know that Jacob is Solo's enforcer. They've used that word before, that he's the enforcer, just like how Solo was the enforcer to Roman. So if we had to compare Solo as the enforcer and Jacob as the enforcer for the amount of time of where they've at, so however long Jacob has been Solo's enforcer now, a few months, compared to Solo's being a few months in as the enforcer, who do you think has more, use the proverbial word, aura? Who do you think has more aura? By comparison.
I would say Jacob, because Jacob had, obviously, if you think about the bloodline currently, he has like the most, like, and they're positioning him that way too, right? They're positioning him to kind of stand out a little bit, right? But also, he has a flashy ass move set. Like Solo, he didn't get a good move until he started doing his uncle's thumb, like right. So man, look, like Jacob is big ass is moonsaulting all over that damn ring, right? Like so from you think about it from a which catchy, like right. Jacob definitely has the flashier move set, like right. He looks menacing.
Yeah.
Like right, the
but
way he
Solo
talks
did too in those couple months in.
But you think about
menacing.
But you talk about like the promo that Jacob cut the other day, right? Like we ain't hear Solo didn't even speak.
Solo didn't talk for a whole year.
Yeah, right. So definitely, You want to talk about what a classic enforcer is? That definitely was Solo, right? Because Solo did have some aura now, like right? Because like sometimes, like when something will go awry, somebody say something the wrong way, you'll cut the screen at Solo to see what's his expression,
Mm-hmm.
like right. But I would definitely say that at this point in time, Jacob probably is the one because you could tell right now, right? You could tell right now that Jacob is going to be somebody. I don't think we were saying that when Solo was the enforcer, which is why I always said, even when people kind of getting down on Solo and his work and his positioning on the card, I'm like, man, to go from a quiet guy where, I don't think anybody saw this in him to him to be where he is right now is phenomenal.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely,
right?
and especially since he had only been wrestling for a minimal amount of time compared to a lot of the other people in his bloodline.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think back, and hell, I can't even remember SmackDown all the way. But I feel like if we're looking apples to apples, month 3, month 4, again, I don't know how many months it's been now, but they're same comparable. I think I might have liked Solo more only
Mm,
because the mystique of the not talking and the
yeah.
times where, like you said, they would cut to him and he would have like those looks like, especially a few months in after he was looking at Roman sometimes a certain kind of way, it felt a little bit more like, man, maybe Solo is going to be the guy
Mm,
because he is like no nonsense at all. Whereas, like you said, Jacob, he's like, oh, all hell Solo, pretty much, kissing his ass. So I don't know. I'd like to see what the freaks think. And I guess it's two totally different type of enforcers, right? One that's more
yep.
verbal, more action, where the other one is more calm, reserved, and just took care of business. So
Yep.
but taking care of business. Motor City Machine Gun. Yo. First off, congratulations. Do you think this is too much too soon? Again, as a WWE wrestling fan, I know as a wrestling fan, no. Hell, they've been doing this for decades. But as we're talking about as a WWE fan, especially this new WWE fan, do you feel like they are like hands on their butt or on their legs, like, who are these guys? Why are they here? We know that the men's tag division kind of is a little bit scarce, but
Mm.
do you feel that this is too much too soon as a WWE fan?
Good question. But before I ask, I'm just really curious, just for you, because you haven't seen the machine guns like in their heyday, right? Like this is you seen them a little bit on ROH and New Japan, right? But
I
you
keep saying
haven't
indies, and Matt's like, no, you've never seen the indies. It's in TNA. But whatever. To me, at that point, I compared it to that. So, but go ahead, keep going.
because I know for a fact that Matt wasn't watching TNA back then. I tried really hard to get him to watch. I couldn't get him to watch. So I'm assuming you didn't see a lot of their peak run as well. What do you think? Do you like what you've seen from the Motor City Machine Guns? Like, are you impressed? Do you say yeah? Like, definitely, I see them as champions. What's your opinion on them right now for what you've seen?
I have a very great ability to be able to separate my views and my thinking on things. And that's just in general at work, in my personal life, here for the show. And I say that to tell you why I preface it that way. As a just a regular WWE fan, if I didn't know any of their work, I would say hell yes, way too much too soon. I think they had one full match. Um, I think we have a caller in here. All right, I'll pick that
Matt,
up.
I'll put you on. I think we have a caller coming in.
A
His name's
surprise.
Matt, but he has a lot of feedback. He hasn't said anything just yet, so I'll put you on mute, man. I'm gonna throw back to you in about another few minutes after Brody just finished her comment.
uh, so as I was saying, as far as being able to differentiate between my feelings and my thoughts, as a WWE fan, way too much, way too soon. 100% as far as when it comes to the Motor City Machine Gun. We only had one other match um, that we saw them in before last SmackDown. So for me, there's just not enough body of work for the WWE fan. Now, me personally, as Rhodesia, I told you over the last few years, I have gotten into indie wrestling. I have gotten into other wrestling other from the WWE. And, their reputation precedes them. One, of course, they're from Detroit, but then also, two, you hear about their work ethic. You hear about kind of just the legacy that they've had so far. So for me, as a person who knows a little bit about the indie side of things, of other wrestling outside of WWE, they are a big, important tag team in the whole like history of wrestling. So for me, I absolutely don't think it's too soon or too much too soon. They're a great working team. They have great chemistry. They're going to put anybody over. They're going to have great quality matches, and they got the psychology there. But as a WWE fan, especially when we talk about how these people didn't even remember Raquel coming back, I think that there's going to be a disconnect for them. And so now I hope that WWE. Our caller is having some problems over there. Hopefully WWE kind of bridge the gap for them, because I don't want them to be like the next Ciampa and Johnny Wrestling, because that's what we got right now. We know Johnny's and Ciampa's work and body of work, especially in NXT in their run. But in WWE, a lot of people probably still think they're C+ player at most.
Right before I throw to our noisy ass caller in a minute. I mean, this noisy as shit, man. This is crazy. But the reason I'm going to say this, all right? I'm going to give a hot take. Is it too much too soon? Yes. Because for everything you said positively, and as a Motor City Machine Gun fan who's followed them for a long time, they have what it takes. They are phenomenal. However, the universe does not know them. Mm-mm. I don't think their reactions have been that great yet, but that's because they don't know them. Like, right? They haven't seen them before. Like, these are new guys that they know absolutely nothing about. So in some ways, I feel like it was a little bit of a disservice to them, because, you got Triple H and team who are kind of like, they not as much as Tony Khan, right? But they're assuming that everyone knows the backstory. Like, everyone knows who these guys are. People who don't know who these guys are, they don't know the history. Like, right? They haven't seen them in their peak, right? So I think they should have come out with some vignettes. I'm not saying they need to go to NXT at all, because they're not. They are main event caliber wrestlers. I think there should have been like some vignettes, something to kind of hype their arrival right before they came. They kind of get everyone excited about them. Maybe talk about them. Maybe talk about how great the wrestlers are, and kind of did the thing, kind of what Sheamus did. Like, people like talking about these guys, like, oh, have you heard that Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin are coming into the company? And what does that mean for the WWE? And has people talking about them, talking them up, getting them hyped, create anticipation. So now when they're having these matches, people are like into them because they've heard about them beforehand, right? Now, with all that to be said, from a business perspective, you want to get somebody hot, like, shit, put the rocket on them, right? And that's exactly what we got on SmackDown. They put them straps on them boys. You know what I'm saying? The rocket strap, they put the title straps on them boys. Like, right? If you want to get somebody over, have them win the championship on their second day, right? Like, right? Have them beat two teams in one night. Right?
So about tapering expectations. They said, fuck your expectations. We about to just go to the moon.
Let's go to the moon. So if you wanna build like some talent, boom. I mean, that's what they did. Right. So I hope it works out, because they are a phenomenal tag team. Some of my all-time favorites, man. I mean, I'm glad Dirty Vince is gone. So now we can get
we would never have great. Seen
it. Yes, because these dudes should have been in this company 5, 6, 8 years ago. Like, period. So what I like to do, I like to throw to our noisiest caller, noisiest host that we've ever had on our show. Matt, are you there?
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, we hear you.
Oh, man, my bad. Hey, look. Hey, yo, Envy, we live? I've been trying to get on for the last 5 minutes. And look, shout out to y'all for holding it down while I'm in the car. My apologies to the freaks for the sound quality. It is what it is, though, right? But I had to get on.
You do sound like shit.
I had to get on to talk my shit really quick. So can y'all hear me?
We can hear you.
Well,
You
we,
fine.
we,
All right.
we hear you. So you're not gonna
Okay.
cuss.
All right. So perfect. Hey, real quick. What I want to start with is I don't know what y'all have talked about yet. Did y'all talk about how Gunther gave it up to Cody Rhodes so hard where Cody had to punch him in the face for going a little too hard on him on SmackDown? Have y'all talked about that yet?
No, we were saving that for you.
All right, got it. I'm guessing you guys have talked about Rhea having a broken orbital bone already, right?
Yeah, we led with that one. We was gonna lead with the bloodline, but when that breaking news came out about the broken face, spinal, we had to talk about it.
So
Spinal.
Rhea is either Liv's gift or a curse because I cannot believe we're gonna have to wait months until we get the end of this feud. I'm over this feud. I've been over this feud for the last few weeks, and now unless she comes back with the Undertaker mask, we gotta worry about Rhea not being involved for another couple months, and we don't get the blow off now until 2025. Man, say it ain't so. Triple H, I can't do another few months of Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan.
Jinx,
I can't do it.
you echo my sentiment there.
Can't do it, won't
over
do
it.
it.
So over it. So over it.
Yeah. All right, so y'all talked about that already. Did you guys talk about how we went from, if you are a football fan, opening kickoff to the 2-minute warning, or if you're a basketball fan, opening tip-off to the 2-minute warning with this Bloodline story in the last 3 weeks?
He absolutely did, but please enlighten us with kind of your additional thoughts on that.
So something has had to have changed. I don't know if it's The Rock's involvement. Dwayne, if it is, hey, God bless. We excited to see you. His movie, maybe they saw the first week's preliminary sales for that Christmas movie.
Yeah.
I think it's only at like 15 million with a budget of 97 million, wherever the hell it is. But something absolutely changed because they went from slow walking the dog to all of a sudden fast forwarding and microwaving this feud to the point where, of course, I'm here for it. But damn, do I feel like they left a lot of meat on the bone. Like I don't know if the bone has been touched. They left so much meat on the bone. So they went from like not even I thought we weren't even going to get this match at War Games to going so fast. They got to have this match at Saudi, and they announced the match at Saudi before they even show on SmackDown Jimmy, Jay, and Roman getting on the same page.
See, and I was saying that I didn't want to catch the spoilers, but it kind of sounded like you kind of put that out there already because they record 2 SmackDowns in one night. So that again sounds kind of lazy, or where was the quality control in that and putting that out there?
Yeah, I don't get it. I was hoping when we got, like me personally, when we got the hug between Jimmy and Jay, the crowd popped. So hey, it worked. And I always talk about the crowd's reaction. If the crowd is on board, it's working. For me though, it fell super flat, extremely flat. Cause I'm like, okay, like this is what we're doing. I enjoyed Jay's promo on Raw where he kind of talked about, look, we do this thing. We Jimmy, we Jay, we the Usos. We not playing second field to anybody, et cetera, et cetera. Got it, cool. How they did not have Roman Reigns show up to Monday Night Raw to convince Jay to come aboard the team is beyond me. That is how you make Jay an even bigger deal, not Jay going to SmackDown. And I get from a logistics perspective, they all were in the building last week, and they're going to Saudi. I get that part. But I just feel like, man, it was a missed opportunity. Missed opportunity for this match in Saudi, and I understand Sami Zayn's going to be involved at War Games. I understand we got some other people who are going to be involved at War Games. I've been known to give out spoilers, so I'm going to hold off on who I think is going to be involved in War Games for another week or two. Bush always tells me I got to stop giving out spoilers, so I'm going to keep my mouth shut on this because I do think it's going to be a pretty big deal. But, yeah, so I was not the happiest with that. What else y'all talk about?
I just have a quick question for you, though, real quick.
Yes.
Why did the ghosts get counted out?
Why did the ghost get counted out? Is this like a Halloween?
This is our
riddle?
Halloween question, yes.
Why did the ghost get counted out? Oh man, don't tell me this was your cold open.
Yep.
No, that was I got like seven more.
It was a different joke.
I got
Equally bad.
about 70s in a tuck right now. Answer the question.
I don't know. Why did the ghost get counted out?
Because he kept fading away.
Jesus Christ. Man, it's
Can
all
you
right.
Can you see my Batman costume?
Yes, I can see your Batman costume.
It's not Batman, it's Bat-Thumb costume. My Bat-Thumb costume?
Hey, I got something else to get off my chest.
What's that?
And I gotta hit these rapid fires because I appreciate y'all letting me get on to the show while you guys are doing your thing.
So noisy.
So there is a lot of, and I'm noticing out here in these streets, and I kind of had to look at myself in the mirror a couple of days, and I said, you know what, let me kind of think through my whole situation. Now, when we started this podcast, TFW, that's freaking wrestling. All three of us kind of came together and said we wanted to do it. We had our reasons for doing it. One of my reasons to doing it was, of course, to give fans of the shows and listeners a place where they can enjoy listening and talking wrestling, mini community, something they can be proud of, to tell people, hey, this is the show we listen to. But I also wanted to get into it to be able to have an opportunity at some point to interview, professional wrestlers, relationship with a couple of the big companies. I think that is no longer my end game, because I am noticing whenever people get these relationships with WWE, with AEW, boy, do they not give it up, either on Twitter, either on their podcasts. When they get these relationships, now everything is just beautiful. We can't talk seriously about the opportunities on said companies or said shows. Everything's got to be Skittles and rainbows. I think at this point I am pivoting from my want out of this, and I don't want to play that game. I feel like if I ever had to not say exactly how I feel about a particular storyline or particular company, then I'm being like, this is a disservice to the people who follow us and listen to us or watch us every single week. So I say all that to say, I'm noticing out there, as soon as y'all start getting these relationships, everything is great all of a sudden. So either you wasn't real in the first place, or you were giving it up, or you're not real now. But I am going to make sure that that is not something that we fall into. Maybe at that point, it also might get us canceled a little bit, because I say that to say I will be going even deeper into some of my thoughts and irritations and things of that nature going forward, starting next week on our beautiful podcast.
Ooh.
I mean, we could just keep pretending that, it's AEW, because we were doing that shit for like a year and a half.
Hey,
y'all weren't giving all the way up for a year and a half on AEW.
No, hold on. AEW is still AEW.
And I'm hoping the show tonight is good. When I get home, I am going to watch this show. If this show can't get me, man, it may be a lost cause for the next few months, because they've stacked this show as much as they possibly can. So whatever.
Hey, Matt,
what else?
Real quick,
Yes.
Matt. I do want to address what you just said right there. And of course, we don't want to ruin any potential relationships that we can get in the future. But I can honestly respect and appreciate that comment that you made. You don't want to compromise your integrity as far as being a person talking about wrestling. And although when you get into new relationships with people, especially if there's some money behind that, whether they tell you that this is what you can and cannot say or not, you kind of want to make sure you don't bite the hand that feeds you. So I think it's also almost human nature to be that way. But I'm happy that you're self-aware of that, and that you are kind of drawing a line in the sand, at least for yourself. Like, no, I'm going to stick to this because you love wrestling so much that it doesn't matter about anything else. It's just me telling you kind of my good thing, the good, bad, and ugly of how I feel as a professional wrestling fan. So I can appreciate that comment wholeheartedly, and that's something to say too.
Hey, promoters, wrestlers everywhere, I want y'all to know I am for hire. You put a little,
yes.
I send y'all my Cash App. I say whatever you want me to say. Goddamn it! Let them say and do what they want to do. Put a little duck in the daddy pocket. Nah, goddamn it! It's all gravy, baby. I ain't hating on nobody doing their thing. I'm gonna do mine. So hey, hit me up in the DM. I send you the Cash App, and I say whatever you want. That
And,
yes.
incredible by that guy E. So you guys talked about Rhea's orbital bone. You talked about microwaving and getting to the 2-minute warning of the Bloodline story before it was time. I heard the Motor City Machine Gun piece. My quick answer to that is no, it is not too much too soon, because I am sure this is the same spot that the Lucha Bros were supposed to be in. And the Motor City Machine Guns are like 56 years old. There's no way in hell it is too much too soon when you've been in the game for 45 years.
But we know
give them guys them titles, and let them cook.
We were talking about in the perspective of a WWE fan. These fans don't even remember Raquel, so they are still brand new fans. Hey, stay in your lane. That was the question.
I was kind of swerving a little bit.
Hey, he felt that, man. He was exactly.
I did.
Oh Lord.
Hey,
Let the car do the driver, man. You just sit back and do hands off, man. What y'all doing?
All right, true that. What else? So, what were y'all about to talk about after the Motor City Machine Guns?
We were about to get into Halloween Havoc.
Oh, okay. So, real quick. Hey, look. So, because I know you guys said my sound is shitty, so I'm gonna give you my quick thoughts about NXT. Then I'm gonna give you my quick thoughts about Saudi, and then I'm gonna hop off. Okay. So,
hey, look, first, don't worry about it, because I can clean up the audio. So you take your time, do what you need to do.
Look at that producer extraordinaire over there, the guy that's for hire. I like that. Hey, man, when AEW or WWE comes calling you, I just still need you to produce this damn podcast.
Duck is for daddy. Come on now.
Hey, look, so I'm sitting there watching Halloween Havoc, and I fast forwarded through the majority of the show. And I didn't realize why I fast forwarded through the majority of it in the time. I knew, like, okay, I'm watching it as late Sunday night after watching my Lions destroy. Say it's not a football podcast, but if it was, damn, I would be gloating for the next hour and a half about how we are by far the best team in the NFC. And as soon as an injury happens to Kansas City Chiefs, we will be the best team in the NFL. But I digress. So I'm sitting there, and it's like 11:30 midnight. So I start the show, and I'm fast forwarding through the majority of it. And I realized after the show why I am fast forwarding through the majority of it.
Why is that?
The women's division is unreal in NXT. Incredible. I wouldn't change anything about it, except for maybe some of them being on the main roster. But that's like nitpicking. NXT men's division, especially at the top, is extremely weak. And when I look at the card for Halloween Havoc, if you look at some of those matches, they just weren't exciting to me. So I fast forward through it. And I realized that after I'm like, okay, well, what did I really watch? Well, I watched all the women's matches. And then I watched the main event, which, of course, I got to watch Trick and Ethan Page. And I'm looking like, okay, well, I'm going to fast forward through this match. I'm going to fast forward through that match. And I think it's they need to figure out something with the top of the card. With having Obafemi lose, and there's some word about, hey, should he go to the main roster? Should he go and stay on NXT and challenge Trick for the title? I think they need to be really smart on, do they have a plan for Obi on the main roster after his plan? So, all right, so if you know how you're going to introduce him, great. That's the first feud. What's the second feud? Okay, after he gets through the second feud, great. What's the third feud? Because if you don't set him up for success, you have a majorly missed opportunity with him. He's somebody I think you got to really handle delicately. He is somebody you can easily put in that Brock Lesnar role as that dominant force on the main roster, but you also don't want to do anything to expose him in any of his weaknesses right now. So I think you got to be really careful on that. But yeah, for me, that's what it is. They got to do a better job with the top of the men's division. And that takes me to Trick Williams. I made a comment when the main event was about to start. And I'm like, all right, I'm about to watch another anticlimactic Trick Williams match. And I'll be damned, it happened. And the match was cool, right? I mean, of course, I could come out here and make fun, which I'll make a little bit of fun, because Trick, if you're supposed to be bleeding from the mouth, man, I don't need to be seeing you chewing on that annihilator or whatever you were chewing on in your mouth to make the blood outside the ring. Turn your head away from the camera, brother. You cannot be showing us you chewing on the red capsule and now you're bleeding in the mouth. And then when you open up your mouth, you see it stuck in your teeth. That can't happen. But they say it's developmental, all good. But what I will say is he's got a, I don't know if it's his finish as a finisher, but same thing. His match is in that second gear. It's in that second gear, and then it's the finish. And I don't know why they haven't fixed that yet for him. Did you guys feel that when you watched it? Like we're missing the third and fourth gear again, or was it just me?
I feel like it's second gear and third gear the whole match. Like I don't even think it start off slow. I think because he has such a hype song, so I think it already starts hype as hell. So that's already second gear. And you're right. I mean, his finisher is the move I do to you every single day. You know, as a play move. So if this is something that I do to you every single day as a play move, that shouldn't be the top guy's finisher.
You kneeing that man in his mouth?
Oh, no, well, yeah. Well, I kind of bring him. I do like a running hip. Triple H kind of running instead of a knee, but
it's a high knee. It's a high knee. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she gets mad when I don't sell it.
He never sells.
Yeah, she gets mad when I don't sell it. I'm like, why would I sell that? And you've done nothing else to me. Why in the world?
Well, why? Why Ethan Page get pinned in? If that's all that trick was.
It's storytelling, pal.
But I think it's absolutely his finisher. Just like I had joked on Tama Tonga, it was Tama Tonga, about his finisher. Like, what was that? It's just Trick is such a bigger than life personality. Like and he's strong and he's big. Got to have a better finisher than that. That could be a signature move, man. But the finisher, no.
I mean, it's no. I agree. I don't think his finisher is the best, but it's in line with the psycho knee that Danielson does. It's in line with the Claymore, right? Like you would think, Drew's a big ass guy. I mean, now the Claymore looks better than the Trick knee, but overall, I'm with you on his matches, but I think they're fine. Like when you watch a Trick match, you don't say, "Damn, he fucked up," like right, or correct. You don't go, right. Like, or you're like, "Oh man, that was rough," like right, like there's. Like, for instance, like Jay just passed his point, like, right, so we can go ahead and safely say it now and really talk about it and give it up for our matches, like, right, like Jay was really rough for the first 2 years. You think about Trick, where he's at. This man is being asked to be in main events, like, right, and he's wrestling way above his skill level, or I should say experience level, like, right, and his matches are just fine. So I think that he's in a position to be great, because here's the thing about it. I watched NXT last night. Man, this man, the charisma and aura is off the chains.
Dude.
He has everything needed to be a major superstar on the main roster right now. So yes, we're super fans. We're nitpicking his ring work right now, but for the vast majority of that audience, his matches will be just fine. And I am very, very confident that he will continue to grow and get better, especially as his level of competition grows and gets better, right? So I think he's just fine, and he's exactly where he needs to be.
That's a great point with your comparison, or even just saying like where he's at. He has what every wrestler wants. So he's got that part. He's got the hardest part now. He's got the charisma. Yes, sir. He's got the look. He's got that airport test. When he walks in the room, you are going to look and say, "Who is that guy?" While you guys were talking, I think we figured it out. He doesn't have any special moves. He's got a finisher, and that's it. What is his 2 to 3 special moves that he hits every match that could be a false finish? I don't think he has any, right?
No, then I think he has like a kick, doesn't he, or like a Booker T kind of side?
Yeah, but he ain't, man. Even Book could beat nobody with that. Yeah, anybody.
No, not really. No, not really. Hold on. Sorry. I mean, that's a good point there. I would just say this on the finisher. Maybe keep the finisher, but when you mention Danielson, when you mention even the Drew McIntyre, they have intensity with it. He doesn't really have intensity when he does his knee. We think about Kenny Omega on a V-trigger. I mean, that's intensity. So, but you're right. I think if he adds some more signature moves, then that's how we can get from third gear to fourth gear to bring it on.
Yeah. He's missing the lead up, is what he's missing.
I would imagine a year from now that Trick knee would probably be that lead up we're talking about. Like I think, I think by then he's gonna find something, even if it's like the bookend, right, or like the rock bottom or something.
Right. It's gonna be something. But I love the women. I gotta just shout out NXT Women's Division again. I love what they did with Zarya and her showing up twice at Halloween Havoc, and then her match, of course, this past week was fantastic of showcasing her. I've been so promoting Roxanne, and damn, did she bring it with Stephanie and Julia. I love me some Cora Jade too. I think she looks incredible. You can tell she's becoming, this is not disrespectful to her, but she's becoming a woman. Like, her body's starting to fill out, so she's starting to get that. I think her gimmick is great, but there was a complete different vibe when she was in the ring compared to when Roxanne was in the ring. And Roxanne was going toe-to-toe, step for step, pace for pace with both Julia and Stephanie in that match. That was fantastic. They set up this 10-woman match for next week where they're going head-to-head against AEW, so I'm interested to see how that plays itself out. But they're doing everything right when it comes to the women. They got to figure out the men's division, though.
Hey, you know what, Matt? You're right. I definitely agree with you. When I watched that show, and I think I've said it before, that the women division far outshines the men. And I don't know specifically what it is. I mean, you know, Trick is the top guy over there, right?
Oh, yeah, man.
Page, has something. Oma Finney, he has it. But I think outside of we can probably count on, I think, let's just be honest and say what it is. Right? There's probably 5 guys on the men's roster on NXT that you can see on the main roster that won't end up being, you guys don't want me to say jobber anymore. They won't end up being an
local legend.
Enhancement talent.
Local legend.
Right?
Enhancement talent.
Right? We were just fast forwarding guys to NXT from this past Tuesday. I mean, in that ring, guys, you got Stephanie, Julia, right? We got Jordan Grace that's going to be on the next match, right? You got Zarya, who, I'll be honest with you guys, I wasn't. Hey, I gotta be like Shaq. I gotta be. You
weren't familiar with her game?
I was not familiar with her game. I was not familiar with her game. I had no idea who this girl was, but my first introduction to her from a wrestling standpoint was on that NXT from Tuesday, and she looks really, really good. Right? She has the look definitely down pat. Right? And then, and they're giving Lonnie, no one doesn't like Lonnie, they're giving her a big push. Say what you want. Right?
Oh, no, you know what? No, I'm high on her. Thank you for saying that. She is growing.
She had a good match.
Yes, she's growing leaps and bounds every single week. And it wasn't like she was struggling before, just her promo work kind of wasn't there, but that's what they're there for. But ring, bell to bell, she's got it. And then, I know you haven't got to him yet, Lola Vice is coming up. Jada Parker is coming up. So you look at their women division is absolutely stacked. And then to your point, you look at the guys, I mean, yeah, Chase U in a prime spot on Halloween Havoc. And I like Chase U for their gimmick. They're entertaining, but they're not, I'm not watching them after watching, 9 hours of television of wrestling on a Sunday night. I just don't have the time and the bandwidth to do that. But I'm sure they'll figure it out. They got some time. Of course, they just signed this deal, which I'm not sure if you guys talked about that yet. The independent deal that WWE has done.
No, we haven't.
Okay, so we won't, and if you're listening to this, you probably already saw it. But I do say that anybody who's got a problem with it, you're a weirdo, and you probably only watch AEW. Because there was a significant section of the fan base of anybody who I saw that had an issue with this deal. I went on their profile on Twitter, and it wasn't much positive talk about WWE. And from what I've seen, the majority of independent wrestlers are excited about this deal. Any deal that comes out that gives the wrestlers a chance to make more money, be safer in their profession. Shout out to Chris Bay. Thoughts and prayers to him. Saki had a serious neck injury at Bound for Glory. Yeah, he had surgery already. I think he may be still in Detroit. I'm not sure if they flew him home yet, but that's not to say that can't happen in WWE. But anything that we can do or they can do to continue the path of setting up the future for all wrestling promotions. And yeah, this is going to be centrally for WWE. But we know how the game goes. You get a look in WWE and they decide to move on from you, roster cuts, whatever the case may be. That's going to help out everybody. So I am excited to see that. So I'm sure Sean knows by looking at that roster what they need to do to bolster the men's side.
Because it's time. It's time. So my question for you guys, I have you in on it too, Matt, while you're here, with that women's roster, right?
Okay.
You know, and they said on commentary this might be the best women's division in the world.
They said at least 3 times.
It's definitely intriguing. Like, right? It's definitely one of the best.
Okay.
When I look at the main roster, there's a lot of girls with no direction, that are auraless. Like we talk about Liv, like, right? Hopefully Raquel can regain it. You know, we got Rhea, who's gonna be on the show for a little bit. We got the tag team champions B and J. We got Nia and Tiffany, right? But there's a lot of girls with a lot of opportunity. But we got these girls in NXT waiting in the wings. Like, who on that NXT roster do y'all see? Actually, let's take Roxanne out. I think that's an easy gimme for all of us. I'm taking her off the shelf. I'm taking her off the shelf right now. Who is the next main event gal coming up to the main event roster?
That we can go a couple of different ways there. I do want to touch on that. I don't want to lose sight on the fact that it's still NXT. So it's still the women in NXT and not main roster. Like, not saying that they aren't as talented as those on the main roster, but I kind of am saying that because it's still levels to this. They're still in NXT. When they come up, like we saw with Lyra Valkyrie, she was the woman down in NXT. She's kind of like a nothing right now. Not no fault to her own, but the next person that they put a lot of energy around, Lash Legend. So if I had to answer the question, so I'm not winded in my response, I'm gonna just say Lash Legend. But I really don't know besides Roxanne right now.
What say you, Matt?
I am going easily with Stephanie Vaquer. I am so impressed with her. She has a level of intensity that you just typically don't get from somebody new into the WWE territory. Even more than Julia. Julia has that it factor, and so does Stephanie. But the way Stephanie works, the way she carries herself, the way she demands the spotlight when she is in the ring, and I know she's been doing this for a while, so she's not a rookie, but she's a rookie to NXT WWE. She's one that you could easily put into the main roster. Once again, this whole thing is about presentation, though. You brought up Lyra, Rhodesia. She's the same performer. She's just not getting the same opportunities and the same storylines and the same matches that she had in NXT to WWE. So when we talk about this wrestling thing, it is all about positioning and setting you up for success. But for me, yeah, give me Stephanie.
Okay, I'm gonna throw back to Matt in a minute. He broke up a little bit, but
hopefully stay within the lines.
Right.
I'm way between lines. Don't you worry about that. Don't you worry about that.
There we go.
Don't you worry about that.
He's like, I'm gonna tell you this about Stephanie. And he goes away.
Hey, look, as long as Riverside does its thing, right, and they make sure that our audio is good, then the freaks heard it. If not, my apologies. Because I gave it up about Stephanie. It's something you will never find out, I guess, at this point. You never know what I said.
I'll listen on the playback. But I agree with Stephanie on everything you said. But like I said, when she first debuted, I am still going to hold kind of my thoughts on it on her mic skills. And we know in WWE main roster, that is so important. And at times it's the most important thing to have is being able to talk on the mic. So that is kind of where I'm at with that. But I could appreciate that. I could see her up there because you're right. It's when seeing her wrestle, it's just like, wow. Like it's just a whole different level to it. Like she belongs wrestling wise. She belongs on the main roster for sure. I'm just a little bit worried about just the mic.
No, Rhodesia, I'm right there with you. Actually, I think I mentioned it before. I think Julie and Stephanie, especially Stephanie, like in that match, like like the exchange between her and Roxanne was really, really nice, really, really, really nice, and she has like a this snap, and I hate to say his name, because and I think I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't care who I offend, because I think it's weird that you guys are fans of Chris Benoit in 2024, given his history, the crimes that he committed. I don't care what your personal wrestling fandom is. That the way he ended his life and his children's life and his wife, like he was possessed and almost a demon of a man. So like, I don't actually care if you're offended, like, because it is what it is. But when we talk about like,
Real quick, let me ask you this. So say if, and I'm not a proponent of Chris Benoit. I haven't watched one match, honestly, since he's passed away, which is crazy to think how big of a legend he was in the game. If they did a study on his brain, okay, and they found that his brain, which they already said was deteriorated to like an 80-year-old man, whatever it was. But say if now what we know about CT and such, say if they came out and said, yeah, he was not in his right mind at all. We are surprised he was even able to put one foot in front of the other when he was walking. There is no way, knowing what we know now about brains and things of that nature, he did this in his right mind. Would you change your stance at all about him and his situation?
that's like it was a guy the other day. I think he shot and killed multiple people, and they said that he was insane. Like, right, he was unable to determine right from wrong. Does that mean that his crimes are go away? Like, no, the dude still is going to do some time. You got to pay. Like, right? This man didn't pay. He ended his life. So, in some ways, he knew what he did was wrong, which is why he took his life. Like, right? I actually maybe might have had more respect for him. He actually would have went and did the time. But another podcast, I still think it's weird. No, because if like Vince McMahon can ruin wrestling and take a shit on young ladies for a living, like, and I'm not gonna forgive him, and Hulk Hogan can be a dirtbag racist, I'm not gonna forgive him. I'm not gonna forgive Chris Benoit for killing a little boy. That's just me.
Vince McMahon's back. Vince McMahon's back. Did you see that? He's got his own production.
We're not spending any energy.
I don't talk about him either. But going back to the Chris Benoit thing, like there was a certain crispness to his work, like, right, and that's when I looked at Stephanie in the ring, like, wow, like she's really it's like a bite and it's a snap to everything she does, right? And then when we look at Julia, like Julia, she has like talked about Finn Balor earlier, Rhodesia, like there's like a little like an aura about her, like there's something to her, right? When you see her on the camera, when you see her working, there's something to her. But as you said, the problem with the two of them is that they got to be able to verbalize it. They got to be able to command the microphone. I don't think there's one women's wrestler or even male wrestler that's been in the WWE that has been a dominant champion without being able to connect with the audience on the microphone. Like, we can kind of look at Asuka and say that she kind of did it without being able to verbally connect, but she did it in a different way, right? Yeah, she did it through character work.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. She had her dances, right? Yep. Yeah, and even when she would talk Japanese, like the way that she would speak was very over the top, so she was able to connect in a very different way with her character work, right? So if Stephanie and Julia can't connect on the microphone, they're gonna have to connect from a character standpoint, and I don't see it from their character right now. So I don't know. I think there's a ceiling on how far they can get. We look at Io Sky, right? Like, I think that she had probably one of the weaker title reigns. You had Io had one, right? She wasn't even the focus of the division when she was champion, right? And I think some of that goes to that she couldn't connect on the microphone. So that's my worry with Julia and Stephanie. But hopefully, they can kind of figure that out, because from a look standpoint, from a ring standpoint, from having everything else, they definitely got it. But I would say that Zarya, she's unique. She reminds me of the female Ultimate Warrior. Like, right? Like, she reminds me of the female Ultimate Warrior. I haven't heard her cut a promo yet, But she's Australian, so I know she can command the English language, right? And I think that's something she can probably work on. So I think Zarya and then Jordan Grace, man, I think it's only a matter of time before she's on the main roster, man. Because that girl
Man,
can go
remember
and she can talk.
her
She
contract's
got
up in
it.
January.
That's
She's
my
gonna be in the
girl.
Rumble. She's gonna be in a Rumble, and she ain't gonna look back. So, Rhodesia, real quick question for you, and then I got two things, and I'm out of here. Thank y'all for letting me be on this beautiful episode, though. So, Rhodesia, if you had to pick one person, you've already talked about Jordan Grace. You got Jordan Grace, you got Zarya, you got Stephanie Procure, you got Julia. You're picking one of them to put the promotion on your back or on their back. Who are you taking?
And the three, you said 3 or 4. Who do I have?
Four of them: Jordan Grace, Julia,
Oh.
Zarya, or
I probably have
Stephanie.
to go with Jordan Grace. I'm gonna have to go with Jordan Grace, and it's only because of the mic skills. Only. That's the only reason why. But I still love her. I came on the show a couple pods ago and say how much I love this woman. But to put it on her back, one, because I kind of see her when she did it with TNA. So for me, and she had the championship. She came over to NXT and she commanded the attention that, yep, I am the TNA Strong Woman Champion, whatever it's called. I'm sorry for missing.
Strong Woman Champion.
I just made that up.
The hell? All right. Hey, look. Last thing I got to talk about with the women. So there was a word that came out, I think yesterday or Tuesday, about Lita was offered a position in that 10-woman match on ECW. And of course, I laughed and I giggled to myself because I'm like, if there's anywhere Lita needs to be at this point, it's developmental. Because of her run last time was so bad. She needs to learn. Oh,
Next.
all right, my bad. Okay. So you guys can talk about Crown Jewel without me. I'm excited for the show. I just need to hop off. But what I will say is this: Randy Orton, when he is invested in his story, he is special. That opening segment with him and Triple H, I thought was fantastic. I thought it did so much for Kevin Owens in terms of switching his dynamic to being dangerous. And oh my God, I cannot wait. Mark my words, this is going to happen. I cannot wait until Kevin Owens hits Randy Orton with the powerbomb on the apron, and Randy Orton is out maybe until Royal Rumble.
Great.
I think that will be fantastic because the way they were putting Kevin Owens on this pedestal surrounding he's dangerous. Be careful what you ask for. We know how bad Orton's back is. Put that man on the shelf. You don't need him right now. You go from Randy Orton to Cody Rhodes for the championship. That can take you right into Royal Rumble. And then we know, well, we don't know, but we're going to assume that's when maybe we get him and Rock or whatever that may look like. But that's what I got for y'all. I'm out of here, man. Thank y'all once again for letting me get on to y'all podcast. I'm excited to listen. I will be listening along with the freaks tomorrow. It's tomorrow morning comes as soon as I upload this bad boy. I'm gonna listen to it. I'm sure y'all rocked it in the first 40 minutes or so. I'm sure y'all gonna rock it for the rest of the time. Peace and love. I'm out of here.
Hey, Matt, one quick thing before you go, though.
Yes.
Why don't skeletons watch wrestling?
Oh God.
Why don't skeletons watch wrestling?
Mm-hmm.
Because they only get TNT and TBS and they're not in the mood to watch AEW.
Y'all gotta get better at just entertaining these jokes because they don't have guts.
Blood and guts. Same thing as TBS and TNT. They're not in the mood for AEW. God bless you. Good night.
Happy Halloween. All right. Well, I think this leads us right into really quickly to Saudi, into the Crown Jewel. Matt kind of started first with the whole Sammy KO, mentioning again KO or not Sammy KO, sorry, Randy Orton and KO. When Randy is engaged in something, he is that superstar, dynamite, dynamic person that he will always be. Coming out of Crown or going into Crown Jewel, any thoughts? Any things you want to for sure make sure that you watch, any progression of any story outside of the Bloodline storyline? I have the card up. I can read it to you, or if there's something that you just want to just touch on, how do you want to go with Crown Jewel?
I don't actually know all the matches. I know we have the championship matches, and I think it's actually kind of cool in some ways. They have like the little Crown Jewel championship in that big old
First off,
long
there's
like
no
case.
little about Crown Jewel championship anyway, though.
That mug is big as hell, right?
Yeah,
That mug is big as hell. They got in that case.
$50 million, they said, right? Something crazy like that.
But I'm not overly excited about this one. I'm definitely going to watch. I'm just it's kind of like one of them things to where I'm kind of looking ahead. Like I'm looking ahead to the Bloodline storyline. I'm looking ahead to like the things that are coming up. This is kind of like the speed bump in the road. Even like the Cody Rhodes and Gunther match, I'm not super excited for. It's kind of for a trophy championship that I'm not super interested in, but I also I'm unsure who actually will win this match. So stay with this match. Like, who do you got? Because I don't know who's gonna win this one.
I almost feel like it doesn't matter either. Like every time we see this Crown Jewel championship, and correct me if I'm wrong, I only ever see one. Do they have a different one when they're showing it for the women, or is it two of the same one? Do you even know? That doesn't matter. Actually, that doesn't even matter. That doesn't matter to this point here to the question. Cody versus Gunther again, just like for me, Liv and Nia. For me, I feel like Liv and Nia is more of is it going to be something to set up Tiffany on, or at least are we going to get a close cash in? But for Cody and Gunther, I have no dog in the fight at all in this case here. I'm gonna say maybe Gunther to add on to his pompous asshole personality. I think that's it. The only thing I will say as far as like Crown Jewel, what I am looking forward to, there's one match I want to watch, and there's one match that I'm kind of want to see how they show. One that I want to watch is the Seth and Bronson Reed. They've had that their exchange over these last few months has been incredible. So I want to see that pay off. And then two, just I don't like the women's tag team championship match, like how it came together, and then even like the visuals of when they all got put into the match and people were happy, and it was a kind of they lost me a little bit on that whole backstage scene there, but we're here and we're going to get it. I want to see how your Lash Legend, how your Jakara Jackson's going to show in a ring with people who are on the level of main roster talent. So that for me is just I'm interested to see how they perform. But what I'm actually emotionally attached to is Seth and Bronson. The other matches is whatever. I know Orton and KO is going to go, but as far as my real matches, Seth and Bronson.
Yeah, I'm right there with you actually on that women's like that segment, the setup. There was something about it that I didn't really like. Like these girls have been kind of going at each other for weeks. Now they're all kind of like in a tight corridor together and all happy together. They're gonna be in the match. Like I don't know, man. Like something about it from a competitive standpoint, it didn't seem true to me. Like right, like they would be that giddy about getting a shot. Like I don't know, right? But also in some ways like again, we're proud African Americans, but I like that we're finally getting this. There hasn't been a black wrestler on a PLE thing off, right? Now we got four. We got we got the Meta Girls,
Bianca,
we got Jay and Bianca on the show in Saudi, right? So we got that out. I'm not sure how good the match is going to be, man. I like this. The whole tag feud just hasn't been hitting. I thought I would like Kyrie and Sky a little more than I would as a team. I don't know, something about the whole thing hasn't clicked. I actually hope that Lash and Jakara stays up on the main roster because out of all the girls, they seem to have the most personality, have the most it a little bit, man. Like the rest of them girls, just I don't know, man. It's just not doing it for me.
It's because they are again they're fresh and they new, so we're excited. They have color, no pun intended, like in their clothes and how their personality. But also too, like with them, they are tag teamers. Like, I mean, they've been a tag team for how long? Or a group for a very long time. So you can kind of see the synergy there. The whole when Jade and Jade and Bianca, when they first said there's going to be a 4-way tag team, match, like they got so hype and excited, and I was just like, yo, like that means you have even more of a chance of losing your titles when there's more and more teams that's in this match. And I just thought that was a disconnect. I know that they are the big bad goddesses of the world, so they probably like you can have 25 teams and bring the heat. But for me, it just, again, it was a disconnect, and it's good to know that I wasn't the only one who felt that way as far as that backstage. But I had one more thing, and I wanted to ask Matt that his opinion. But I'll ask you, just you here. I am disappointed. We talk about bad story writing, bad, whatever the case is. But I don't like the fact that when we got our game 7 in SmackDown, that we had LA Knight as the referee. Hated it. Absolutely hated it, because I knew at that point it was gimmicky. Now I can look forward and say, okay, well, maybe in the future, whenever that future is, Andrade and Carmelo can go back at it again, and then like just them two. But I just felt like y'all had such a great build up to this game 7, and you introduced this other part. I know it brought us to now also to Crown Jewel, to this 3-way, which, because of him messing up, or I'm not going to say him, because they, WWE, messed up my game 7. I actually am not going to watch that triple way match at all. Any thoughts about how you felt about what they did in as game 7? Do you feel the same way as me, as far as like you fucked up a really great thing that they had, a great campaign against each other? Or do you feel like, okay, this is just them getting to a PLE?
Man, we definitely twins tonight, Rhodesia. I felt the same way. So much so that I forgot about the segment until you just brought it back up. I remember watching it, and I was like, I didn't like it. I didn't like you know what, I was watching the show with my oldest son Ethan, and I was like, Ethan, look at this clown LA Knight. Like, he's a referee. The dude still got his vest on. He got his championship belt on. He got his glasses on. I'm like, man, like, what is this, right? And then I just didn't like that he kept getting involved in this last, this was supposed to be year to go home, match, right? Finally get a winner of this whole thing, right? And he kept getting involved, so I kind of didn't like that. I kind of felt like we didn't get the resolution to the 7. Like, right?
I felt like they disrespected and shitted on, and I'm hyperbole right now. I feel like they shitted on this beautiful thing that Carmelo and Andrade had together. Like, to me, it was like you effed it up and you shitted on it. But
yeah,
again,
I didn't like it at all, and I feel like LA Knight came off kind of like a heel a little bit to me.
Yeah, because we had such a beautiful thing here between these two, and you got inserted somehow. And I guess as a consolation prize, sure, now they get a chance to come at your title. But to me, it's just like, again, do y'all just not know how to book LA Knight? And again, we talk about this all the time. There's only so many people at the top. So I get that part of it. I just wanted to bring that up. I did not want another episode to go by before me bringing that up, because I hated that they shitted on game 7.
Yeah, like, just this Triple H regime, they're not perfect, right? Like this, I think the booking of this whole thing has been kind of wonky, and now they're gonna like LA Knight has beat both these guys already clean, like, right? So like it's
both of them.
Like, they ain't beat them together. So I guess it's gonna be like that thing where Roman, he gonna stack them rack them, whatever it was. He gonna pin them both at the same time. Like, it's gonna be one of them things. Well, Rhodesia, I'm introducing today a new segment, and I want to lay the groundwork for it. So we're gonna do this segment very often. So I know you're not online like Matt and I. So you always aren't privy to the dirt, the scuttlebutt, the scuttle booty. You always don't know what's going on, and we get a lot of this dirt from the dirt sheets, right? The dirt sheets is a lot of rumor, speculation, and innuendo. Like, so what we're gonna do today, Rhodesia, we're gonna talk about the dirt sheets. Okay. We're gonna talk about the rumor and the speculation. We're gonna talk about all the innuendo that's going on. You know what we are going to do today? We are going to between the sheets. We're gonna get between the sheets, y'all. Oh yeah.
Hopefully we don't have to pay for that.
Not today. I ain't paying. Hey, Paul Heyman. Hey, listen, Rhodesia, Paul Heyman got away for 15 years not paying people rights. We ain't paying for that. Not for that 4-second clip. But we're going to get between the sheets and we're going to get into some dirt. Now, this stuff isn't rumor. It's not speculation. This has some real shit that happened, right? So what I want to talk to you about first, Rhodesia, I'm not sure. How much of this Samantha Irwin stuff have you heard online? Have you heard any of it?
Yeah, just a tiny bit. Yeah.
Just a tiny bit. So I'm going to give you like the big stuff, right? So Samantha Irvin, y'all, has been on one for the past couple of days. She's been going on Twitter. You know, she's enjoying not having the job right now and doing her own thing, being her own woman. Because she is replying to Twitter names humble _ N-word, right? So she chose
Come on.
to reply to this guy named the humble N-word, right? And he said to her, Rhodesia, I can't prove it, but I know Ricochet's behind this because he can't stay in the big leagues. I guess this is about her leaving. She just simply replied, I don't like announcing. She said, I'm serious. Announcing was only supposed to be my way in. I wanted to manage, maybe even become a general manager one day, but WWE saw no other future for me besides announcer. I love wrestling. I love watching the action, but I don't love being an announcer.
Could you imagine if she did, though? I know you about to get somewhere with this, but could you imagine how incredible she was as a wrestling announcer? Can you imagine if she actually liked it? Yo, our minds would be blown.
That's crazy. And so, like, and just going into now, I will say before I get to her another tidbit. Somebody did say, actually, I don't have it right here, but one person said, "Hey, I wish that you loved what you did as much as we loved hearing you announce. You know, I hope you find happiness in everything you do, right?" And she said, "No, she loved her time in WWE. She just didn't like announcing." Right now, she also went off where she said, "This is her talking about Ricochet. When he was at WWE, all he ever heard was that he was a jobber or he was in catering. Now he's actually paid well to put on matches he likes. He is doing great, and I'm proud of him. Also, I went to the show last night, and the crowd was having fun. Not everyone wants to be famous doing something that they don't enjoy." And someone called her and Ricochet ungrateful. And she said, Rhodesia, I am so glad I don't have a boss anymore, so I can say this. Shut the fuck
Let's go.
up.
Let's go, Samantha. These people in general, and especially wrestling fans, IWC mainly, are so entitled to like the wrestlers. And I get that we have emotions and we invest, whether it's time, money, feelings, maybe even over family and other responsibilities to wrestling and everything that we see on TV. But they are entitled to being like so important to these people. And although they need to make sure that we are important to them, this woman just said, listen, I had a job. I had to make sure that I showed up on time and I did my job with excellence. I don't like it, but I'm still going to come here and be professional and kill it. My time is up now. I'm going to go leave. Listen, I love wrestling. I love watching wrestling. I hated what I did. But for a person to be able to say that and they produced the shit that she produced, y'all entitled fans, you're entitled people, get over yourself. Now to the comment about her and Ricochet, bravo. These same entitled people, they don't understand the meaning of life. Everything is not about money. Some things can be about money. It really is just what makes you happy in life. And if for Ricochet, we talked about this already too, the three of us, we had said that he didn't resign more than likely because he wanted to go do something else and wanted to be the wrestler he wanted to be. And AEW allows that for him to do that. Bravo to that man. He understands what life is. They are putting their life on the line, their bodies on the line every single day they wrestle. So for all those people who just be talking and hating and saying that they're ungrateful, why? Because they gave us great announcing and great wrestling? Get the hell out of here.
For real though. Like, it's, what, to be honest with you, Rhodesia, Samantha is like most Americans. They're like, if you listen to the passion in her announcing, Like she almost changed the game in a lot of ways, right?
She did.
You listen to the passion in her announcing, you would never know that she didn't like what she did. You would think that she loved what she. If you listen to the passion in her voice when Cody Rhodes won that championship at WrestleMania, that didn't sound like a woman who didn't like her job. That sounded like a person that was fully engaged in the product and loved what they did. But it just goes to show you, a lot of us, we do jobs that we excel in, we're great in, but we don't like doing. I think that I actually commend her that if she doesn't have the passion and the love for what she does, then, and she has the opportunity to find that love and passion for something she does love doing, to where it's not just work. Like, right? That's what we all want, right? We all want to be able to do things and engage in things that we love and have passion for. Why does she have to be different? Just because we enjoyed her, that doesn't mean that she needs to now be trapped into doing a job for our own benefit. What about the individual? What about her as the person, as a woman? Let her go on and do what she wants to do, right? So that she can wake up every morning and not only be proud of what she does, but also be happy with what she does.
Hello.
That's the key thing.
And last time I checked, at least, again, I'm not on the internets like that, but last time I checked, I don't remember Ricochet going on a tour talking about he hate WWE and fuck them. And I haven't seen Samantha going out there saying that she hated everything about WWE and F them and she wished them the worst. So what do you mean that they're ungrateful? That's the part that I just don't get. How about that fan who said that they're ungrateful? Maybe you're the person who's ungrateful. Maybe somebody who is an announcer who didn't really like what they're doing, but know that she had an obligation to the people and the fans in the WWE universe, that she wanted to perform for them. And then Ricochet, who put his life and his body on the line all the time. How about you, fan? How about you're the ungrateful one?
You can never look at their work and say that they ever gave you everything they had.
Exactly.
They gave us awesome moments and memories that we would never forget, that you can go back and on the WWE network, on Peacock, and you can watch it relive over and over again. You can never say she shortchanged you. So boo you, fans. But I got something else for you on this Between the Sheets. It's gonna be the last one. We're gonna save some other ones for later on. So Montez Ford was in the news. He was interviewed just recently, and he said, and this is with potentially splitting up the Street Profits. He said, "For me to take off and just do my own thing kind of feels like I'm leaving him behind." Talking about Dawkins, but I quickly realized that's not my fault. He was quick to comment that he is not trying to offend Dawkins, but feels he's beginning to surpass his partner. I decide to go my own way, and it's not the Street Profits or whatever happens after that. It's not on me. Me is on me. He said, "I've been ready since I started watching this, and I am not going to say when the opportunity comes. Like, I'm not going to say when the opportunity comes, because opportunity is opportunity." So it looks like Montez Ford believes that he's world championship material, and it sounds like he's finally ready to go on that singles run. There's been some speculation and some booty that he might be going on a singles run, and the Street Profits are breaking up. I know we've talked about that for some time, but we've also been kind of critics on his work recently, right? Some of his faces and some of the things he does. Rhodesia, do you think that now's time for Montez Ford singles run? And if this is going to happen, what's next for him? And also, what's next for Antonio Dawkins?
It was his time 2 years ago. But just about what I said 10 minutes ago, there is so many people at the top. Being removed from my feelings about going ham on how Montez should have been a solo act about it. I was really heavy about that about a year and a half ago. Being a year and a half removed from that, I probably would say I'm happy that they did not break up, because then if he was a solo, he would have been lost in the sauce. And then, then we would say his individual career was kind of garbage again, compared to everything that was going on in the top 5 slots right now. But yes, they need to be able to have Montez be the superstar that he is destined to be as a champion. The guy puts in all the work. The guy looks great. He can talk on the mic. He actually has all of the skills that's needed to be a top guy. The spot just isn't there right now, but then that's why you got these people getting paid lots of money in those creative rooms, coming up with ideas of how to book him and how to make sure that he is important. Like for me, Montez should have already been there, but because I know there's so many little spots at the top, let's break them up now. I thought that article or that interview he did, I saw the quote there. I thought that was perfect, and I think it was very genuine. And that again, there's no hate, so we can break up Street Profits where you don't have to have it where they hate each other in the process. It could just be their own way of just going on their own. But whatever they do, they gotta do it, and they gotta do it quick because again, you have a star with everything: mic skills, look, and can go in the ring.
Yeah, I think now is the time. I think this is the first time for me as a Street Profits fan, even a couple years ago, when Montez had that big elimination chambers match and etc.
Mm-hmm.
I still
That's
was
2 years
okay
ago now.
with
Yeah.
them. 2 years ago, I still was okay with the Street Profits continuing to be a team. I think now the Street Profits have it's the expiration date. We talked about the New Day. For me, I was okay with the New Day being tag teams. I felt like that's what they were. I think there's a certain charm to what they do. They're an established team, but the Street Profits have run their course. As is, I don't see them being the stars of that division. I don't think they're as marketable as the New Day is. I think they are very stale. I think will be the correct word for those guys. So if they're stale, now is the perfect time to shake it up. And I think the perfect thing to shake them up would be to split them up, right? Let Dawkins go on. To me, I think Dawkins is kind of like he's a faction guy.
Yep.
You know,
And I'm sorry I didn't
maybe
answer that. You asked that, but whatever you're about to say, I think we're aligned on Dawkins.
yeah, I think he's a faction guy. He can go down to NXT and get repackaged. I think he'll be best suited in some type of a faction or team to where he can continue to play off somebody in a different role and do something different. Unfortunately, I don't see him being the next big super, main single star. But I think there's value in him, right? He's definitely
Absolutely.
improved in the ring. I think he'd be great in some type of a faction as maybe the veteran in the faction or some of that sort. Montez, he looks the part, like right. His manner, he has some corny ass mannerisms. That's the only thing about him. He got some corny ass mannerisms that he needs to be produced. Like right, I
But if
think
he's a singles bad guy, hell, even if he's a singles good guy, it was just the Street Profits and with him having to be like a caricature of himself. That's where that corny, cheesy cornball stuff and his facials come out at. If he's either just a regular baby face top guy, or if he's a heel, which I think he will because he's gorgeous.
I think he has to be
So
heel. He has
yeah,
to
I
be
think so.
heel.
When you are fine, it's something about a fine ass heel. Like it just makes you hate them even more because the men want to be them, the women want to be with them. That kind of thing. So make him a heel. He's not gonna have those crazy corny faces. And if
Yeah,
he's doing it on purpose to get a pop
to
or
be
to clown
obnoxious,
you. And exactly, it just comes off so much better. Again, but
and
there's
I
only
think
so much
that'll
room at the
work.
top.
I totally agree with you. I think that his mannerisms would definitely, especially if he dials it up, I think it definitely will work better as an obnoxious heel. So now's the time. Pull the trigger. With that being said, I think that potentially in the next year, 2025, whenever the Lucha Bros get to
That contract
the
ain't gonna
main
never be over.
roster, oh man,
For
like
all the
what?
injuries,
What?
nah.
Yeah, with the booty is that Tony Khan has extended Ray for almost another year. Like right,
I
so
don't
we
blame him.
might.
I don't blame him.
God damn, what a shady bastard! But if we
No,
get
no,
the Lucha,
please stop. No, he's let a lot of people out of their contracts. You know that.
hey, look, hey, you know what? Like we said, like if it's well in his right, it's been done. But like
Yep.
I said, when Vince used to do that, especially when he would not, Garrett. So I think I mentioned it last time. He did that to Brody Lee. He extended his contract just to not use him.
Yep.
Like, why would you do that?
Yep.
Like, how are you going to extend these men? I guess you're going to continue to pay them, but
Yep.
let them go somewhere else and be happy somewhere else. If you're not going to use them, if they're not going to allow them to contribute to your product, like, right, let these people go. Let them go.
Enslavement mentality. I own you. That's
Yeah.
pretty much
So, I
what it
mean,
is. I'm gonna pay you for it. At least I'm paying you.
he getting his money, but this is tied up. I think that if the Lucha Brothers can get there, sooner than later, He got the Motor City Machine Guns.
Mhm.
I would like to see a heel DIY. We can talk about that on another show. I would see a heel DIY. We got the War Raiders back. I think the tag team division can potentially be really good in the future. I just don't see a future with the Street Profits in it. And I think it's time
agree.
to split them up and let them do something else.
I agree. I guess before we wrap the show, Matt usually say our Twitter handle. So again, thank y'all for listening today. You can catch us on the Twitter or on X at That's FNW, on YouTube at That's Freaking Wrestling. I think we have IG only for Eric is what the gimmick is. So and that's also That's Freaking Wrestling. Let me put on my Batman.
Oh,
mask.
Lord.
Actually, I can't actually read my joke, so I can't do it when I take my glasses off. So, hey, E, what do you call it when someone goes number one in a haunted bathroom?
A peeper.
Close. A creepy peepee. And what do you call it when someone goes number two in a haunted bathroom?
A boo.
A spooky dookie.
Oh, Lord.
Happy Halloween, y'all.
We out on that one, y'all. See you later.